It is Wednesday, the third day of August, 2022, and there's a lot going on here. Um, I say here is sort of a royal here. Hmm. Off to a great start, eh? Let's see what's going on. Ted Cruz is still a piece of shit. Apparently, Batgirl doesn't exist, and it's about to be fucking hotter than rats fucking in a wool sock. But there's even more happening in the old toy aisle of life, sports. It is with great sadness that we all heard about the passing of Bill Russell last week, earlier this week. And then on Tuesday, Vin Scully passed away. Both lived long, productive, and valuable lives with immeasurable contributions to humanity as a whole. Both could certainly earn a spot on the top 10 humans list the next time that comes around. And it will come around again. Twitter is certainly a cesspool, but it's an invaluable source of up to the minute information and then to a lower degree, human connection. So this week has been full of stories from all kinds of people talking about the impact of both. Earlier this week, of course, Bill Russell was all about civil rights and reflections about how he was treated while he was in Boston, which I wasn't alive then, so I don't really know. But you hear these things and you wonder yourself, what the fuck was going on? Apparently, someone broke into his house at one point and literally shit in his bed. Shit in his bed. Seems a lot of folks in the city did not care for the fact that Bill Russell was married to white women or dating white women, which I've never understood. Maybe if you weren't fucking whatever. Um, and then so people are going to be surprised when he moved clear across the country to Washington State after he was done with the Celtics, or that he didn't give a solitary shit about a statue here. Um, I read a quote, which I don't remember exactly, but Tommy Heinsohn actually said it. It was basically, the guy, all he did was win, yet there's a fucking tunnel named after Ted Williams. Which, if you think about it, it's kind of funny. The fact that he didn't simply tell the Celtics to fuck off every time they called is surprising, but he's a better human than most. So he also played in 21 winner take all games throughout his not just professional career but his life. So all the NCAA games, which apparently for 2 years he did not lose a single college game. Olympic medal round games, best of fives, best of sevens in the NBA, and he won them all. So in final games, winner take all, 21-0. Never lost. Amazing. Not having grown up on the West Coast or any, in the western half of the country, I don't have the same vivid Vin Scully memories as others. But my first recollection of him was during the 1986 World Series, and that call that he had in Game 6. The ball gets behind the bag. Through Buckner, the ball gets behind the bag. Classic. We know how that turned out. I did not realize that he was actually on the TV call for CBS in 1992 for The Catch by Dwight Clark. And of course, his call during the 88 World Series and Kirk Gibson's home run may be one of the most memorable of all time. He was the seminal voice of baseball. The voice. So it's a pretty sports heavy show today. Partially because I've been lazy the past week and haven't written anything down. But it's the Patriots slash NFL, a little bit of West Ham, and probably way too much Red Sox talk. But that's all right here, right now, on episode 127 of Complaints and Observations.
Still, the most less than average podcast on the internet. With a host who's the smartest person in the room when he's the only one there. A continuing odyssey into mediocrity. Guaranteed to make you question your life choices and your own sanity. This is Complaints and Observations with Dave LaPointe. Who the hell is Dave LaPointe?
I think he's a bum. I think he's an absolute bum.
Hey, what's going on? Listen, have you seen Aaron Rodgers' tattoo? I don't know if we talked about this before. What a fucking weird-ass guy. Everybody knows an Aaron Rodgers type of person, right? Where they try so hard to be different. You know what I mean? They try really fucking hard to be different. And look, there's nothing wrong with being different. In reality, there's nothing wrong with trying to be different. It's just that the effort is, in some cases, incredibly evident. It's probably the best way to put it. I mean, I don't know. But man, what a fucking tryhard. And the stupid tattoo could mean something to him. I'm sure it does, and I hope it does. But for fucking Christ's sakes, buddy. Like, just stop. Can't you just be a quarterback? What is it with Green Bay? Green Bay, by the way, if you've never been, and I've mentioned this before, an outstanding place to visit. I mean, I had a fucking blast there, and I want to go back. Wisconsin as a whole is something that I love Wisconsin. Beer, cheese, football. That's Wisconsin. And holy fuck, man, what a great place. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, huh? Anyways, how are you? How's things going? Good? Everybody's good? How's your family? How's your mom? She good? Tell her I said hello. Today, I'm going to stumble through something similar to a program or something, a close approximation of an entertaining venture here, mainly because I am woefully ill-prepared, less prepared than I normally am. And normally I am woefully unprepared, but today, even less so. Why? I don't know. Partially because I'm terrible at this. That's one. Two, I'm lazy. So it's probably just those two things. But the good news is there's stuff to talk about, and it'll all be off the top of the dome. It's a couple things I wrote down, but not much. Another good thing is I have some voicemails. Very excited for voicemails. In fact, well, not really. I'll get to them in a second. But one thing that I literally just saw. Ivana Trump died a couple weeks ago. And I'm guessing you saw that. Which, tragedy. Apparently she fell down the stairs. Yep. She fell down the stairs. Anyways, her ex-husband and her children have decided that she should be buried, not in a cemetery, not in a family plot of some kind, but literally on the golf course that that the family owns in New Jersey, which, from what I've read, basically means that they can claim that the property is no longer a golf course but a cemetery, and not have to pay the same tax rate. Now, look, I've made my opinions of this man known several times throughout the history of this god awful show. In whatever relationship the two of them had, which my guess is has not been good for a very long time, but common sense would tell you that you don't bury the mother of your children on your golf course. Am I out of line there? I don't think so. Common sense, decency would tell you that you probably shouldn't do that. And here's the other thing too. Dollars to donuts, that gets moved at some point. She's going to get moved into a proper final resting place. If I had to guess, could be further down the road, but that just struck me as, of all the fucking like dirty fucking tricks that this guy has pulled over the years, now he's going to try to claim that his fucking golf course is a cemetery because he put his fucking ex-wife in the ground there. Just try to wrap your head around that for a second. Oh, man. God, this fucking country is just so stupid. So fucking stupid. Also stupid, the Miami Dolphins. Let's talk about the Dolphins quickly. So, they were punished yesterday for tampering violations, where they were tampering, allegedly, found to be factually, with Tom Brady, to try to bring Tom Brady to Miami to not only play quarterback, but to be partial owner of the team. And this took place in the summer of 2019, which apparently is when Tom decided he no longer wanted to play for the Patriots. And when he went through the motions in that particular season, after they started the season 8-0, they sucked for the rest of the year. For a variety of different reasons. But, one of them was that Tom did not have the same, oomph, get up and go, the same drive, if you will, that he had in previous seasons. Probably because he knew that he was leaving. My biggest issue is with the team. The team fucked it up. They could have just fucking paid the guy and it would have been fine. He'd still be here, for Christ's sakes, and they'd probably still be winning. But no, they decided not to. And I say they, and it may not have been Bob Kraft, but, by extension, it was. Because Bob could have fucking told Belichick, look, we're not letting this guy go. We're not letting him go. We're going to re-sign him. And if you don't like it, too goddamn bad. If you don't like it, there's the door. I mean, that's what they should have done. And no offense to Bill, best coach of all time. But those are facts. Is that they should have and could have chosen the quarterback over the coach, but they chose not to. So here we are. Too many people are blaming Tom Brady for this. I really can't. I mean, I can to a point. Here's the thing. I can't blame him for talking to the Dolphins, but I can blame him for not giving his all throughout the course of that season. I paid for season tickets, and you just kind of went out there and went through the motions. So if anything, I'm owed a refund. But I mean, he's not at fault for any of this. The Patriots are at fault. There could be none of this had they just realized that he's the best quarterback to, not just quarterback, the best player. Well, maybe not, but the best quarterback to ever play the game. And B, that he was woefully underpaid for 20 years. So you got 20 years of value, 6 Super Bowl championships, and now all you had to do was double his salary, and you'd probably still be winning Super Bowls. But no, you chose to get rid of him, and then you made Cam Newton a sacrificial lamb, and now you've got Mac Jones, who an entirely serviceable quarterback. And I think he's going to get better. I think he'll be fine, but he's not Tom Brady. And I don't, happy birthday, Tom, by the way. He's 45 fucking years old. I remember when we were kids, like, you hear about George Blanda, who played until he was 46. And you'd be like, whoa, 46. And then Warren Moon, I think, played till he was 40. Whoa, he's 40. And now this fucking guy, not only is he playing till he's 45, but he's, an MVP candidate at 45. He's making a mockery of the game, is what he's doing. Back to the Dolphins, though. Fuck the Dolphins, okay? Fuck that owner, Stephen Ross. He's a piece of shit. Thinking, that they can get away with it, number one. And then number two, they basically did get away with it. And the fucking league is like, oh, we don't really believe that he was serious when he told fucking Brian Flores that he would pay him $100,000 for every game that he lost. Like, oh, that was a joke. Ha 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 ha. Fuck off. Like, he's the owner of the team. He can't be making those jokes. What do you can't do that. But they let him off. So, oh, you're suspended for a month. Oh boy, you suspended the owner. Look what you did. Take a look at the other owner you've suspended, Dan Snyder, who's avoiding subpoenas while floating off floating on a oh, fuck, living on a boat, floating in the Mediterranean. Ooh, you're suspending an owner, and you're fining him $1.5 million. Why even bother? Don't even announce it. Just call it an undisclosed sum. So stupid. So, and that's what gets me about fucking sports sometimes. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. I shouldn't say that. It does make sense in that the owners, especially now, the owners can get away with fucking murder, and it doesn't matter. Oh, they lost the first round pick. Oh, big deal. They have another one. They've got the 49ers draft in perpetuity for moving up 2 seasons ago. So that's useless. Who gives a fuck? It's just crazy. Stupid. Like, the whole thing is so dumb. Oh, man. Anywho. Yeah.
Yo, Dave, Banksley, I got an observation. I hope you and your other listeners are betting against the Red Sox and taking the other team's money run line, because I am making bank. Fuck that team. Goodbye.
Thank you, Scott. Scott Banksley chiming in, as he's wont to do by telling everybody how good he is at gambling. So thank you. Appreciate it. I have bet against the Red Sox occasionally, probably not as much as Scott. But he's 1,000% right. Had you been, taking the other team's money line, all run line, I should say, all year long, you probably would be doing pretty well. And especially in the month of July, you would double your money, literally. If you bet against them every night, you'd double your money. I've been saying for a while how bad this team is, and they stink. I don't care what they did the last few nights in Houston. As I record this, they're currently, I'm pretty sure they're getting no hit at the moment, but we'll see. Yep, they are getting no hit as we go into the 5 no-hit innings so far for your Boston Red Sox. Good fucking grief. The kid that's pitching is Jose Urquidy. I think that's how it's pronounced. Urquidy. And he did a number on them last year or the year prior, but I don't anticipate him throwing a no-hitter, but one can never tell. yesterday was the trade deadline in Major League Baseball, and so here's the thing, okay? I think myself and most people, by the time the weekend rolled around, you thought, okay, they're gonna move some players, right? They're gonna move guys that do not have contracts for next year. They're pending free agents. The only one they weren't going to move was Xander Bogaerts, and they said that they weren't going to move him. And I think part of the reason is that he's going to be re-signed. Now, my buddy Matt has a mole whom he refers to as Dominican Scoops McGee, who's got connections and ties within the Dominican baseball Illuminati, and he says that it's looking as if Xander is going to re-sign here. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the case. I certainly hope so, because I think he's as close to I don't want to call him a marquee player, because I think that's Devers. I think that Bogaerts is that that one guy that hangs around, sticks around, is really good, not great, but very good, and is the face of your team, right? In a sort of a Jason Varitek-ish mold. And I say ish because Bogaerts is a better player than Varitek, even, two different positions, but Varitek defensively was all world. He can call a game, or could call a game, better than anybody else. Maybe the best ever. No joke. I'm dead serious. 5 no-hitters? That's ridiculous. But Bogaerts in that mold, where when you think of the Red Sox, you think Xander Bogaerts, and that's how I think it's going to be for the next 5 years. I think he sticks around. They sign him to a reasonable deal, nothing crazy, and then hopefully that'll get Devers to stick around too, if they're willing to pay him. The baseline was set this week. Austin Riley of the Braves, 10 years, 212 or 220, something like that. So that's 21 and change. That's the base. Devers is a $30 million a year ball player in today's market. That's just how it is. But as I was saying, the trade deadline. So you would think that a team in the Red Sox position, they would start trading off players. And so, you're going to see your Christian Vasquez's, who did get moved. You're going to see, you should see like Jackie Bradley, Valdi, JD Martinez. In theory, if you were a seller, if you were a team that knew you weren't going to advance to the playoffs, that you would start moving some of these expendable parts, right? And that was sort of the first thing that you saw when you saw Vasquez get moved. Now, the problem, there's a number of problems, all right? He was the only one that got traded. As if you're listening to this, you probably know full well that he was the only one of that bunch of guys who were free agents at the end of the year that was traded. He was the only one. Word on the street is that they asked for far too much for Nate Eovaldi. Far too much. And I've not heard anything. I mean, they kept saying all day on Tuesday that Bradley was going to get moved, which is the reason they brought in Tommy Pham. That's another story. So, the fact that they didn't do it left you scratching your head. Now, the big move yesterday, or Tuesday, I should say, was Juan Soto. And Juan Soto moving from the Nationals to the Padres. The original deal included first baseman of the Padres, Eric Hosmer, but Mr. Hosmer had a no-trade clause, or basically what they term a partial no-trade, in that he had a list of teams that he did not want to go to. Turns out the Nationals were on that list. So apparently they tried to convince him to waive it. He said no. And then Chaim Bloom comes swooping out of nowhere and says, hey, we'll take Hosmer. And honestly, it's so infuriating to me. And it has nothing to do with the player at all. Because I tell you what, I like Hosmer as a player. He fills a massive need here. and it's a need that they've had for 2 fucking years, and that is a first baseman who can actually play first base and who is not going to give away at bats. And that's Eric Hosmer. I don't care if he's fucking 33 or 34, however old he is, whatever. He is a professional first baseman, very good in the locker room, and fills a need. But they created another giant hole in their team by moving Vasquez. They moved Vasquez, therefore making Kevin Plawecki in his 185 batting average the starting catcher for the Boston Red Sox. Now, in the illustrious, 2-decade history of the John Henry Fenway Sports Group ownership, they've always had a light-hitting backup catcher. They had Doug Marabelli for about 7 years, only to catch Tim Wakefield. But there was a reason for that, because he had a big glove and could kind of catch a knuckleball. That's what he was there for. But in this particular instance, you have Plawecki, who can't hit and basically only caught Eovaldi. He's now your catcher. So they need another catcher. So what do? They trade Jake Diekman, who was signed this past offseason for way too much money. Turns out he stinks. They moved him to Chicago, and in return, they got a backup catcher. Some bum named Reese McGuire, whose claim to fame is that he was caught jerking off in his Mercedes SUV, pants off in the car. Literally, pants off. He had no pants on, jerking off in the car. On a Friday at 2 p.m. in a Dollar Tree parking lot. What the fuck? What the fuck? Now, look, I understand that you pay your penance, you serve your time, et cetera, but these are the kind of things that if you're a professional baseball club, you would look at and be, yeah, I don't think we want to bring that in. And he could be a nice guy. I don't know him, don't know anything about him. Could be a wonderful young man. Doesn't change the fact that he was caught jerking off in a Dollar Tree parking lot. What are we doing here? And I mentioned Tommy Pham. They bring in Tommy Pham, who his claim to fame this particular season is that he slapped another player on an opposing team because he didn't like a fantasy football transaction from last year. Ugh. The worst part about it is that you have no idea what the team is doing. You literally have no clue. No one outside of a very small number of people within the Red Sox organization has a goddamn clue as to what they're doing, what their philosophy is. Do they have an actual philosophy? Is there a plan to just, compete, and I put that in quotes, compete enough to create the illusion of actually giving a shit? Because it is fairly evident that they're keeping a closer eye on the bottom line of Fenway Sports Group than the Major League Baseball American League East standings. So if that's the case, why not say it? Why not come out and say, look, we're looking at the bottom line. We're keeping an eye on our fucking balance sheet right now. We have some talent. We have enough talent to challenge for this fucking fakakta third wild card bullshit that they just created. I mean, do they really think that if they're honest, that it's going to keep people out of that shithole of a building? I mean, it's entirely possible because we saw it, 2019? But I mean, I'd venture a guess that Chaim Bloom teaches his children to tell the truth, so why can't he do it? Just be honest. Or, if you're not going to be honest about it, at least give me a philosophy. Give me what are the Boston Red Sox today? What are they? The idiot gives a fuck, and I don't want to call him an idiot because he's not stupid. He's not a stupid person. I just don't like him as he's not the general manager. He's the vice president of baseball ops. Because with these fucking nerds and dorks, you can't call them GMs anymore. You got to give them a fancier title. Mike Felger loves to call them clones, and he's so 10,000% correct. Every one of these hotshot fucking baseball executives in the league are all the same guy. They're white. They're in their 30s or early 40s. What did he say? Close cropped haircut. And they're all from Yale. They're all the same fucking guy. There's no one thinking outside. You know who thinks outside the box? The Phillies, because it's Dave Dombrowski, who's an old school baseball guy. That's it. There's nobody else that is thinking that way. You have the owner of the team, John Henry, talking about how much it costs to pay all the analysts and all the fucking numbers dorks that they have within the Red Sox, and it's costing more for those guys. So they might have to, cut corners on salaries. It's just, I don't know, like, what does this team actually care about right now? And why does it seem that they care more about what happens 3 to 5 years down the road instead of today? Like, I'm done. I was kind of done with Chaim Bloom last year, but I'm really done with him now. And you're gonna hear a lot of people, maybe him included, start crowing about Eric Hosmer when they got Hosmer completely by accident. Completely by accident. And my guess is he would have gone someplace else that was on his acceptable trade partner list. But Bloom was willing to throw in their 11th ranked prospect in order to get it done. And then they got two more bottom of the barrel Padres prospects to go with the two bottom of the barrel Astros guys they got for Vasquez. Oh, excuse me. The whole thing stinks. I mean, they're not paying Hosmer anything to fill the need. They created a bigger hole behind the plate. I mean, the offense is the same. Vasquez and Hosmer this year were relatively the same. You didn't get any pitching help whatsoever. But he's up there talking about how guys are coming back from injury. Like, I don't really fucking care. And then Rich Hill goes out today and gets fucking shelled. Rich Hill, I have zero problem with Rich Hill. You want to know why? Because he shouldn't even be here. He's 42 years old. The Boston fucking Red Sox should not be signing 42-year-old Rich Hill to be their, essentially their fourth starter. It shouldn't happen. I heard Jared Carrabis today talking about how he's like, I miss the Red Sox. And I'd never really thought of that. And it makes perfect sense. I miss the Red Sox too. I fucking miss them. I miss what they used to be, which wasn't even that long ago. That's the part that kills me. But you know what? I'm done with this fucking guy. I'm done with Bloom. Done. Like, give me fucking dig up the decomposed corpse of Lou Gorman. He'd be a better GM than vice president of baseball ops, Chaim Bloom. Because at least he gave a shit. And I got sidetracked talking about Bloom's press conference yesterday when he said that the baseball ops team was going to go have some adult beverages, as if they fucking did anything. What the fuck did they do? Like, did you kind of make the team a little bit better? That's a flip of the coin. That's a giant fucking maybe. Personally, I think they're worse. They're worse. They brought in the fucking clown puncher to be the backup catcher, the fucking crazy slap guy to be a fourth outfielder. And you took out a very, very popular starting catcher who this season has been a top 5 to top 10 catcher in the league. He didn't make the All-Star team. He probably should have. So you figure, 2 catches on each side. He should have been in there. So I'm going to say he's at least a top 6 catcher in the league. It's a shame. Because now we've grown so accustomed to what the Red Sox should be and can be at this point. So for them to not be that is fucking infuriating. It's infuriating. And as someone who really should not care, and I try so hard to not care. I try so fucking hard, yet there I am watching every fucking night. And I don't watch whole games anymore. I can't do it. Like, I'm not watching the game that's going on right now as I'm recording this because I can't. But I still watch a lot of it. And I'm a fucking sucker. I am a sucker. Not only am I supporting the team, I'm supporting Jeremy Jacobs and his fucking stupid channel. God damn. I hate it sometimes. I really do fucking hate it. In closing, though, so I need to know what their actual philosophy is. Tell me what it is the Boston Red Sox are today. Tony Maz yesterday on Felger and Maz said something that really made sense. He was talking about the Mookie Betts trade and what they got back for Mookie Betts, which was Verdugo, Jeter Downs, Connor Wong, and I think it was Duran. And he said, quote, "How do they identify a guy like Jeter Downs as a player they actually want?" End quote. Jeter Downs is not a major league ball player. He's not. He's a pinch runner at best, an occasional fill-in, fifth infielder, maybe. At best, he's a light-hitting platoon player. And they traded a guy who was an MVP, could be an MVP again. And they got a AAA catcher, a AAA platoon guy. I'm fucking stupid. I can't remember if Duran was a part of the deal or not. But they got Verdugo, who's a starting left fielder. Of the bunch, Verdugo is the only one who's any good. And he's an okay player. But did they really look at Jeter Downs, watch him play baseball, and say, yep, that's a guy we want? Or did they just fucking look at a computer screen and decide that was a guy that they should target? Because Maz's point was very sound, which is none of these guys are actually watching these minor league players. None of them. All they're doing is looking at numbers. Maybe, they're going to watch highlights, they're going to watch video, but they're not watching. They're not sitting there talking to scouts or watching games. Chaim Bloom hasn't scouted anybody ever. I could be wrong, but that's a guess. That's my thinking. Just tell me what the Red Sox are now. Tell me what they are, and let's fucking move on. Because I don't think they have a fucking clue what they are right now.
Dave, Gangsley. Just came back from having a couple of work trips. I'm almost home. I was listening to City Pod to see if I want to drive off a cliff. Luckily, I didn't yet. But here's my responses to some of the things you just discussed, my friend. One, I totally agree about the whole urine and anything wanted to sit on you. I would pee my pants instantly. So I hear you there. Two, I don't know why you fucking guys go with your wives to a strip club. That is just banana land to me. I keep my debauchery to myself. And three, you're a sucker for even taking the bait from your wife. It was her birthday, bro. That's all on you, man. I don't know what to tell you there. That was just, you fell for the bait. All right, later.
Another visit from our friend Scott Banksley chiming in on last week's episode where I discussed the strip club nonsense. Oh, that was last week or the week prior? I don't know. I can't remember. It might have been the week prior. Doesn't matter. A couple things. I'm glad to see he's in agreement with me having to urinate during a lap dance. That was not good. Very uncomfortable. Two, taking our wives to a strip club. Honestly, if you've been to that strip club recently, you would know. And I don't know if Scott has or not. He might have, but it doesn't hold the same allure, and it doesn't have the same cachet that it once did. You know, it doesn't. When you're in your 20s, a strip club is much different than when you're in your 40s. You know, unless you're a complete sociopath and you think these broads are going to actually fuck you, in which case that's another issue. But it's more for the people watching than anything else. And then finally, he said that I was a sucker for taking the bait. In my defense, I don't think my wife was thinking in that term, like trying to test me. And as I mentioned, all she had to do was say no, and it would have been the end of that. But again, I've accepted the fact that I shouldn't have done it. I'm terribly sorry. I apologize. It won't happen again. Definitely won't happen again. But yeah, I don't know. That is on me. So what can you do? But again, I laid out my excuses as best I could, and that's where we are. So yeah. All right. So I do have some other voicemails. Let's get to them.
Dave, it's Donnie calling from the car. Wanted to call in about an observation I had last night. I at the Black Keys concert over at Great Woods. And now, not really knowing too many Black Keys songs, apparently I do know a lot of Black Keys songs. Probably the band that gets played on the most car commercials that there is. I think there's a draw there over the connection between the whole Counting Crows being the most popular retail band. We have the Black Keys, the most common car commercial band. Anyways, wanted your take on it, see if it was something that you noticed as well. Ta-ta.
Thank you, as always, to probably biggest fan of the show, Donnie. Thank you very much. And Donnie's onto something here. Whoa. So I went through and tried to find like Black Keys songs because again, same thing as Donnie. Admittedly, don't know much about the Black Keys, and then you hear a bunch of songs, and you're like, "Oh, I know that. It was in a fucking Ford commercial," or "Oh, it was in a Dodge commercial." Oh, it was in that fake used car ad with Bob Odenkirk 10 plus years ago. It's funny because the first time I ever heard the Black Keys was in I think it was a FIFA game, probably around the same time, 10 years ago. That's pretty funny. I did a quick Google search of Black Keys car commercials, and seems that's a well-known gag. There's a faux news site, music news site. They have a tweet from 3 years ago that just said Black Keys stop beating around the bush and title new single quote Ford commercial end quote. It's pretty good. Yeah, they've been in a bunch of commercials. They were in Rock Band too, I think. They were in a Subaru commercial at one point. They just love commercializing their music, apparently. Whatever. So, honestly, it could be that the Black Keys. Well, here's the difference, right? I think the Counting Crows have been the kings of retail completely by accident, where they may have done one of these things where they've licensed songs to a variety of different outlets who have then added their songs to these Muzak playlists at Bed Bath & Beyond and Target, etc. Whereas the Black Keys are literally licensing their music for particular commercials, and it seems that it's in a variety of different car ads. What can you do? Honestly, it's so stupid. I'm looking at another article. In the end of the article, the line says, "The Black Keys didn't sell out. They just got heard." They're not wrong. They just stink. I don't know. I'm not a fan. But then again, I could be like Donnie, where I end up at a Black Keys show someday, be like, fuck, I know 8 of these songs just from watching TV. I know 30 seconds of 8 songs. Oh, fuck you, Black Keys. I don't know. What the fuck? So, the Black Keys, kings of the car ad, the Counting Crows, the kings of retail. Huzzah.
Hi, my name's Heather. I'm a new listener, and I was encouraged to call in because of this incident I just had at the grocery store. So I understand that all grocery stores are trying to save the planet now, and they're under that new initiative. But then they started using the paper bags, but they don't give you handles. So I don't understand why they didn't just take Trader Joe's brand mark, trademark name, and just put handles on the bag. Instead, Star Market decides to give you one single paper bag, no handles, overstuff it, and then just hand it to you that you then have to underscoop to hold it. If it moves just even an inch, you're going to lose everything you bought, which is what happened to me when I walked up to my apartment stairs and the rotisserie chicken literally ripped through the bag and fell down the stairs, and now I can no longer use it. And then on top of that, I now have no plastic bags for my bathroom trash and like those little trash cans. And so instead of reusing and saving the environment in my own way, I now have to go out and buy plastic bags that are new to then put in these trash cans. So I feel like the whole thing just doesn't work. And especially if the handle thing really pissed me off, because if you're not going to put handles on it, at least double bag it. It's literally physics to see if it's going to work or not. And they were just like, you know what? I think 10 pounds can fit through this one piece of paper. I think it'll hold it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So let me know your thoughts. All right. Thanks for letting me complain.
Yes. Thank you, Heather. Thank you so much. I don't know Heather. This is, completely random. I don't think it's completely random because I think Donnie knows Heather, but still, not the point. Donnie doing what he's told to do at the end of every episode. Tell your friends. Thank you. And then Heather comes and brings the kind of shit, the kind of petty shit that I'm looking for, because this is 1000% correct on a number of different levels, okay? Her and I are on the same page when it comes to the getting rid of plastic bags, okay? I get that. That makes perfect sense. But the way that the baggers at these grocery stores handle a plastic bag is baffling. It's baffling. Because you cannot overstuff these bags, right? If you do, you're fucked. Just like Heather was, where there's nothing worse than buying the rotisserie chicken at the grocery store and then taking it out of the bag and there's a pool of chicken goo at the bottom of the bag. This was in the plastic bag days. Because it always came out of that. It's a very hot chicken, so you're gonna get condensation, or the cover is gonna open up, and it's gonna slosh around. Next thing you know, you got chicken goo in the bottom of the bag. So now the chicken goo is on the bottom of the rotisserie chicken container. It gets all in your fridge. It's gross. It gets coagulated, and it's not good. So when someone purchases a fucking chicken at a grocery store, that should be an automatic double bag. Automatic double bag. And it's funny, I went to Trader Joe's today. They double bag everything automatically. It doesn't fucking matter what you get. I mean, I didn't have any. I had a couple of frozen things and a couple of refrigerated things, but most of the stuff that I had was, standard grocery fare. They double bagged it, gave me 2 bags, double bagged, with handles. Off I go. There's a lot there. There's so much meat on that bone. No, and no pun intended with the rotisserie chicken business, but you'll never see one of the big supermarket chains add handles to their bags because it costs 1/25th of 1 cent per bag more than a current bag. So they're not going to do it. So, I think there are two ways to handle it. Okay. Now, Heather, you really should have reusable bags. My wife and I have about 50,000 of these fucking things. How we got them, I'm not sure. We just have a fucking ton of them. So bring your own bags. Because then if they overfill those bags, at least they have handles. Okay. And now you're not stuck with a bunch of paper bags, easily recyclable bags, but it's not like you have another use for it, right? If you have kids and you want to, if you need book covers, then okay, paper bags are great. How about that? That just dawned on me. What the fuck did kids use to cover their books when it was all plastic bags? What a skill that was back. That kind of goes to my gripes. So I'll save that one. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the plastic bag initiative, I understand. But again, like Heather mentioned, where now she doesn't have plastic bags for her tiny trash barrel, which is true because I have the same problem. We have 2 cats now, 2 kittens, and these little fuckers, they shit and piss like crazy, and they stink. And with my past cats, I would just take a plastic bag and clean the litter box and put it in the plastic bag and off I go. But now I'm struggling to find a plastic bag, and so to the point where we ordered like compostable plastic bags just to put cat shit in. Oh man, that was a great call. What a fucking perfect. Honestly, it is the kind of call that I'd envisioned for the last 2 years, where some person that I don't know calls in and complains about something entirely petty, like handles on a paper bag and plastic bags in general. It was just absolutely perfect. Although she did throw physics in at the end of that, which makes it she's far too smart for the demographic of this program. But again, Heather, thank you, and I will tell you the same thing that I tell Donnie and everyone else every week. Please, for the love of Christ, tell your friends. Give everyone that phone number and say, hey, anytime you feel the need to complain and there's no one around, call this number. It's therapeutic. The dumb asshole that's on the other end of this particular show will love you for it. So thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. All right, as it is Wednesday, it is time for everyone's most favorite part of the program. It's almost over. And 3 gripes. Gripe number 1. This is a repeat gripe, but throwing trash in the street. This was a gripe that I made originally, probably back in May or June of 2020, when I was going for my daily walk around the neighborhood when it was nice and quiet, no one was around. The pandemic, honestly, was, for someone who doesn't really enjoy people, the pandemic was excellent, except for the fact that people died. I've established this fact. But anyways, throwing trash in the street. So originally I had said that I kept finding discarded masks all over the side of the road. Well, now on my walks in our new neighborhood here, which not nearly as convenient. And the previous neighborhood had a much better walk setup. It's a cul-de-sac. Could walk around it once and it was like a mile, or twice it was like 2.15 or whatever. Now I got to do some fakakta nonsense with some hills and shit, and I don't really like it. But I'm fat and I need to exercise, so off I go. Anyways, now I'm seeing, especially lately, the number of water bottles, beer cans, just general trash that I'm seeing on the side of the street is appalling. There's a ton. It makes no fucking sense. What kind of fucking slob do you have to be in 2022 to still be throwing your trash out the window as you're driving your car? What kind of piece of shit does that? That's a dead serious question. What kind of piece of shit throws trash out of that car? Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what we need, and we haven't had in a very long time, is more PSAs on television. Where is fucking Woodsy to come out, bounce around, and say, give a hoot, don't pollute? What the fuck happened that all these PSAs don't exist anymore? I can't remember what Woodsy was actually associated with, but, you know, here I am. I'm 44 years old, and I remember fucking Woodsy telling me not to pollute as a young boy when I was watching cartoons on a Saturday morning. That's the other problem. There's no Saturday morning cartoons. It's going to lead into my next fucking gripe, but whatever. Don't fucking throw trash out your window. Don't be a fucking animal. You're an adult. Honestly, keep your fucking shit in your car. It kind of goes the same thing. Don't be drinking beers in your car and throwing the beers out your window. You know what the worst is? When you see like a White Claw. Like, what kind of fucking loser is going to drive around drinking a White Claw? Really? Get fucked, buddy. Or, yeah, doesn't matter. I can say buddy if you're a guy or a girl, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. Get fucked. Gripe number 2, nostalgia. I hate when you get that pang of nostalgia, when you start thinking of something you're longing for days gone by. I wish I could remember like the exact reasoning behind this particular gripe, and it seems based on this show that there's been a lot of it, and as I just got done talking about Woodsy from the early 1980s. But you start longing for the past, and which is stupid because, you know, and I've realized over the course of the last, I don't know, couple of months or so now that, you know, living in the past is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And to look back fondly may not make a ton of sense either, but I don't think it really does a ton of harm. It's just, I don't think it's really worth living for nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think. Let me try to figure out where I'm going here. I would hope that somebody listening to this that's my age or close to my age would have a general sense of what I'm trying to get at. But I don't know if that's the case because my brain works in a very peculiar manner. I just don't think it's worth, leaving the present to spend time in the past. You see what I'm saying? I know what I'm trying to say. It's just it might not be coming across the way that I'm thinking it's supposed to come across. Like, let's take for example, you're going to see a band and it's a band that has been around for a while and they get back together, right? You go to see them and it's not as good as it used to be. So then you start sort of reminiscing about how it used to be and how good they used to be, and what they did that one time you saw them years ago. It serves no purpose because it's gone. You enjoyed it at the time, and so what's the point of thinking about it now? Doesn't make a ton of sense. You should not leave the present to visit the past. Or maybe not visit. See, that's what happens when you don't fucking write anything down. When I don't have it scripted, oof, not good. Not good. You can visit the past, so you can think fond. See what I'm saying? You can think fondly of the past, but you can't live in the past. There it is. Maybe my band analogy wasn't that great. I don't know. I think part of the reason is that I've been sort of trying to forgive myself for past, not mistakes, because I don't think that's the right word, but, things I did in the past. Not good, both good and bad. Then again, I've never really done anything bad. I've done a lot of dumb shit, but never anything bad. So I'm attempting to forgive myself for things that I had done previously. And attempting to sort of attempting to live in the present and to be mindful. That's what I'm attempting to do now. Is it working? Who knows? Sometimes, not all the time. But yeah, that's the real deep thought of the day with Dave Handy. Great number 3, Alex Jones. Okay. Alex Jones. Let's talk briefly about Alex Jones, okay? On Twitter today, I called him a swollen tick, and I think I may have been doing swollen ticks a disservice by comparing the two. There are not many people on planet Earth currently who are more vile than Alex Jones. He's a lie-peddling sack of shit who's in court today and has been for the last couple of days fighting a defamation. I think it's a defamation suit brought against him by the parents of children killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School over a decade ago now. Because this fucking piece of dog shit has literally been peddling lies over the air on his show for years, trying to say that the massacre at Sandy Hook was fake. And it has led to all kinds of problems for these parents because his listeners have been just destroying these people for years. And this man shows zero remorse. It literally took today in court where he's sitting on the fucking witness stand under oath for the second time now, because he was deposed originally. And when he was deposed, he's under oath as well. So he's under oath for a second time. He probably committed perjury the first time, but this time he finally acknowledged that what happened at Sandy Hook was real. So all of this bullshit and all of the problems that this man caused these people, all in the name of profit for himself. There are not enough bad things that could happen to this man. And it's one thing to be a forgiving person. It's, and some of these parents, I just, how they manage to get through a day, never mind a decade, is mind-blowing. One mother basically stood up and said, look, I forgive you, but you need to be held accountable. And then she said that she forgives Adam Lanza, the kid that went in and fucking shot all the kids. 20 fucking kids and 6 teachers. What? But again, you've progressed so far in life as a human being that you're able to say that in open court to the person who's been telling the world, well, not the world, but, a lot of people, a lot of his followers for the last 10 years plus, that your son didn't exist and that your son wasn't real and really didn't get shot and killed. Unreal. And how this man has been able to get away with this for so long. And then literally yesterday and most of today, probably thinking he was still getting away with it, because the other day he's literally on his fucking show, shit talking the judge, shit talking the fucking the lawyer. Probably his lawyer, who, by the way, is a complete fucking moron. Literally shared the contents of Alex Jones's phone, all the text messages. So there's fucking tons of text messages over the course of the last 3 years on this, basically a Dropbox that the other attorney has that he was given by Alex Jones's attorney. It's the most bananas thing I've ever seen. Well, now the January 6th committee is they want to take a look at these fucking text messages, because my guess is that he knew something about, since he was there. But fucking A, honestly, fuck this guy. And as I said, not enough bad things can happen to a person like that. I really hope that he's found to be liable and has to pay $150 million, because that's what That's the amount that they're looking for. That's the amount of the suit. 150 million. I hope he loses. He cannot lose enough. And honestly, though, the way things are these days, it's not going to matter. He'll lose, never pay a dime, go back on his show tomorrow, and as if nothing happened. I hope he gets charged with perjury somehow, and I hope he fucking goes to jail. I doubt that's going to happen too, but one can never tell. All right, that's enough. I'm done talking about that fucking clown. Thank you, as always, for listening to the program. It was a terrible show, as always, except for my voicemail. So thank you, Scott, Donnie, Heather. Appreciate it. Please, as always, tell your friends, tell your moms. Let's get people listening to the, at the very least, calling in, complaining, leave a voicemail, share your thoughts. Let me be the arbiter of any particular dispute that you might be having. Any particular thoughts that are milling about in your brain that you just need to get off your chest. Let me be that sort of decider, or come to Reverend Dave and have him absolve you of any pettiness that you may have. So you can find me on Instagram at ComplaintsPod. You can find me on Twitter at ComplaintsPod. I have a fake Facebook page, but fuck Facebook. I have a YouTube page I've done nothing with. I have a TikTok page. Tip pop. Ugh, too much talking. I have a TikTok page at Complaints Talk that I've done very little with. I have a Twitch channel that I can't figure out. 617-657-4736. Call in, leave a voicemail. You can send me an email, showmail at complaintsandobservations.com. I'm supposed to have a blog, but I don't really blog much. That's at complaintsandobservations.com. And, if you want to be on the show, let me know. If you know somebody that wants to be on the show, let me know. Donnie, I'd like to get you and Bob on the show soon to talk about the album or the singles or whatever it is that you guys are fucking up to, because I like your music and I want to hear more of it. So that's it. Thank you as always. It's greatly appreciated. Yeah. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Godspeed. Ta-ta.